and then just staggering some path lights again. So you don't have to use as many path lights. It's friendlier on the pocketbook. But staggering those path lights in between where you have some accent lighting. So if you have some accent lighting on the front here, you might throw a path light kind of on that side over there, and then another one on the corner. Hey guys, it's Cal from The Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoy this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca, or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our Try It Before You Buy It offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for The Lighting Doctor. Hey, Fizell, thanks for your email and for your pictures. Not all of them came through, but I think I got a pretty good idea. You know, I will encourage you to just kind of go look around on our website. We do have some lights that are very similar to yours, the up lights and the path lights. Keep in mind, I mean, these are professional grade products that contractors would use, that you're going to have in there for 15, 20 years. The whole reason we started our business, and especially our online business, is because we just got so tired of the crap that they were selling at Home Depot and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to point that out, because obviously, you know, based on this, you can get 6 of these lights for less than you can get one of these, and there's typically a reason for that. Just to put that in perspective, is something you're looking for. If you're looking for a good light, like you kind of mentioned, these are probably your best bang for your buck that you're going to find, just durability wise and lasting for a pretty good price. And something you can actually do too, just so you can tell the difference, is our Try Before You Buy It light. We kind of built on that premise too, where you can buy one of the lights at a discounted rate. You can feel it, you can try it out with this battery pack, and you can see what the difference is between what I'll call a professional grade or a real light, as opposed to kind of the toy lights that they sell at Home Depot and stuff. So with that being said, I'll definitely give you some ideas. I think you probably would be a combination of some up lights, like you said, some path lights. We do have kind of 2 styles that are the most popular, and then probably some wash lights I would throw in there as well. So I think first off, what I would do, and you really got to keep in mind just your viewing angle and stuff. So I'll start with the front of the house. I mean, obviously you got lots of trees and that on the house, so you don't want to light every single one. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to spend $10,000 on lights. But I think if you're smart about it and really focus on some of the key features, you can do a really nice job without blowing your budget. And then you can always add lights on later too. So first thing I would start with, I mean, in this front section, it would be nice to kind of accent these with some up lights. The only thing is, I always get a little nervous putting anything too close to the sidewalk area. But if you wanted to, I mean, I think having one of those up lights that I just showed you, like these guys here, would be a really nice option to just kind of highlight the front of these, and it really just highlights the front walkway area. And then using the path and garden lights. And one thing to keep in mind, depending on what you go with path and garden lights, the more modern ones, these are built better than these. Not that these aren't built good, but these are very thick, very durable. They're contemporary. They fit with a lot of people's, I guess, design techniques right now. And they're a little bit brighter too, so you can usually use fewer of them than these. But with those ones, you can usually spread them out pretty good. And the best thing to do is if you can stagger them. So if you have these accented, you know, you might throw one of those path and garden lights here, you might throw one over here, and you might throw one over here, and that would probably be all you would need to light this pathway. And you don't need to light every inch, but it would give you a nice balance leading up. And because they're more expensive, you know, I would definitely encourage you to probably try and use less of those and then focus on doing some uplighting. So, you know, if I'm looking at the viewing angle from the front of the house here, I mean, I definitely want to try and get an accent light. You know, probably this one could be a little tricky. You might have to do something like get it on a riser to get it above these hedges. So basically what that is all the lights have a half-inch male thread on the bottom. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just go to Home Depot. We'll get like a half-inch piece of threaded pipe with a half-inch coupler, and we'll just screw our light into that, and then we screw that that pipe with the half-inch threads on it into the ground stake, whether it be 6, 8, or 12 inches. You can usually find those, and what that does is it just gets it above the shrubs a little bit, and probably have that here so it's highlighting this bush. This one you don't have to worry about as much, but I would probably try and get one of those accent lights here. And then I would focus on some things a little bit closer to the front of the house, which I will get to. I thought I saw some other pictures of the front. Yeah, so I mean, really what I would start focusing on is like any of the, I can't remember if these are Japanese maple or what these are exactly, but I mean, getting an uplight on these kinds of trees. And if I look back to the front area here, I mean, I think having that highlighted, and then some of these smaller shrubs, you don't have to highlight every one, but this is where that wash light that I talked about comes in handy. It's not as bright as an uplight, a bit of a wider angle. So it's good to kind of fill those dark spots. Whereas here, if I'm looking at this viewing angle, I might throw one kind of in here. I would definitely, because this tree's not as tall, I'd probably try and highlight this one. I'd probably try and highlight one over here. And then I would highlight the stonework on the house that you have with those uplights. And what I like to do is kind of try and get them in between the windows, that it really washes the stonework nicely. And then another idea is actually mounting a light to catch the second story, where you can use the gutter mounts that we have and use that same uplight. You can run your wire right either up inside or behind your downspout across, mount that light here, and then you have a light that's shining up that just gets this second story peak, which is always a nice feature, which most people don't do when it comes to landscape lighting. And just to kind of give you an example of kind of what that looks like and how that can really make it stand out, this is just kind of an example of that. I mean, ideally it'd be nice to have maybe one or two of those lights mounted up here as well. And then I would definitely want to try and highlight the nice stonework you have here, but I have a feeling that there might be a patio and you might not be able to get lights in there. But if you have a close-up of that, maybe we could see if there's some things we could do. If I kind of move around the house, and mainly what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you some ideas that you can kind of work with from there. But again, this might be an area where you want to kind of highlight these front trees, just to highlight the entry into the garage. Anytime you have some unique plants like this, and that's why I'm always a bigger fan of using more uplights, because you're going to see these, if you uplight these properly, you're going to see these from a distance a lot more than you will having a few path and garden lights, along the driveway or in these beds. So that's why I like doing that. Again, I would really just focus on the larger trees. If you focused on that tree here, along with that same theme on the front of the house, something that's really nice to do. Again, it's like you said, it could be more of an undertaking, but lighting kind of the second story peaks and dormers. They didn't do these top ones here, but they did kind of light these. But using that same gutter mount, I always like trying to light these dormers here, because it just kind of completes the lighting, especially on an area where you're probably not going to be able to get any lights on the bottom here where the garage and the driveway is, but by lighting those peaks creates a really nice viewing angle as well. Along this side of the house, again, same thing. I would try and highlight some of these more unique features. This would be a candidate for more of a wash light, and then you have a nice balance of some higher up lighting and some wash lighting. Evergreens are tricky because just the way the branches go, you usually have to get that light far enough out. I usually try and opt out of evergreens unless I have a lot of room and I can get that light kind of out here and have it shining up so that it highlights the tree. I just don't find that it's the greatest effect. So I think if you could highlight these and then maybe have one or two wash lights that kind of highlight this one from different angles would be nice. And like I said, having those lights up here that kind of highlight these dormers is always a nice effect too. With that same theme of the house here, I mean, I'm a big fan of trying to accent the house a little bit more by having some uplights kind of on the front facade here to light that up. And then just staggering some path lights again, so you don't have to use as many path lights. It's friendlier on the pocketbook. But staggering those path lights in between where you have some accent lighting. So if you have some accent lighting on the front here, you might throw a path light kind of on that side over there, and then another one on the corner. And again, this is something where you could try and light a smaller one like this with a wash light, and then you have a path light over on the other side. So just staggering and spreading those out is a nice option. In an area like this, if this is a really high viewing area that you want to highlight, and again, you can always do this stuff in stages, but this is where I would probably just throw a series of uplights kind of in here to give you some just some lighting so that you have a nice viewing area and it's not a dark spot out there. Kind of talked about this already. I'm not sure if this is the area I was just looking at or not. But again, just to keep the lights down, I think what I would really do is I would just focus more on some of the unique trees, and I probably wouldn't do the wash lights just yet. When you're doing the install at the fixtures that you're going to bury here, just leave a little extra wire. So if down the road you want to attach some extra lights, then you can definitely do that. But I think if you did that, and same thing as I talked about along the front of the house, I think if you had like a couple accent lights that just highlight the house here. What's nice about that, especially when it's nice and white and you have so many trees, is you get the silhouette of all these against a backlit house. And like, again, you're going to get way more value and way more viewing out of this than you will if you just highlight these little shrubs. So especially when you have a big property, you really want to focus on the bigger stuff because that's the stuff you're going to notice a little bit more. And keep in mind that even when you backlight something like that, you're still going to get the silhouettes of these plants at night looking at it from a distance, which is a nice effect to play with. Yeah, it looks like there's this patio here, so I don't know if you'd be able to accent this. There is some things that we can talk about and do if you have some kind of close-ups of what that looks like. But with the same theme of having kind of those 3 uplights on the stonework on this front section, I would probably do the same over here. This would be a tree that you could definitely throw an accent light on. Even though it's an evergreen, you can get that light far enough back that you could kind of highlight it, and it kind of complements this side viewing angle. Like I said, if you have kind of the side of the house here lit up, this will be lit from this side, but it'll still kind of give you some side light from here, and then you light this one so that it's kind of from this viewing angle. And again, it's always something to consider is different viewing angles. You have this guy kind of lit from up front, which you're going to get some side light from over here. And then I think this is where on some of these shrubs is where maybe you put a wash light and a wash light in here just to highlight these, but you don't need a lot of light. And you could do the same thing over here to balance it. I especially like doing that around any gates or entryways because then it just kind of highlights that that area a little bit better. You know, same thing, looking out on the property and stuff like this. If this was a project I was doing, I would really focus more on getting my lights in more compact areas as opposed to trying to light everything out here. And I would do it in stages. So like I said, I would really focus on the house and around the house first. So like I said, you know, those path lights kind of in here to highlight this section. I think if you put a uplight on this one, it would be nice. I would have my accent lights on the house here. Keep in mind, you're also going to get some reflective light by doing that down on the pathway, so that you can probably just throw one pathway light in here. But one of the biggest mistakes, and I've done this many times in the past, is you get a big property like this and you want to go and try and highlight every area, and you end up putting fewer lights in. So say, for example, you say, well, I don't want to light up every tree. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to throw one here. And I'm just going to throw one here, and then I'm not going to use quite as many around the house because I want to try and light everything, and then it never quite looks right. Whereas if you can condense those lights more and really do some of those things we talked about around the house, this front entryway, and then a few of these heavily treed areas, you're going to get a way better effect than if you try and do everything. And just keep in mind, you can always add on to your lighting system later. So if there's any advice I give you, I would say that is based on these recommendations, which I know is a lot. It's a lot to think about, but hopefully it gives you some ideas. Think about, you know, stuff around the house first, and really this front section and those side areas with a couple lights. I think if you focus that, you're gonna be a lot happier with the results. And then after that, you can start expanding the lights out into those outline areas, and it doesn't all have to be done at once. And that's how, if this was a project we were installing, definitely how I would look at it. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions, and we can go from there. Here we are on our project at Salt Springs. So the first thing I've done, like I always say, is I've just kind of gone and I've laid out all my lights because I want to make sure I have the appropriate amount of lights. And then from there, I can calculate how many watts I need and make sure I've got my proper transformer sized and everything. And although I've already kind of done those calculations first, it's always a good idea just to double check. From there, as you can see, I've just laid out all my wire on the ground. I'm running everything from my last light way over there and off to my next light. Again, that way I know how much wire I need. I kind of know my running path. And a general rule of thumb too is you always just want to make your life as simple as possible with LED. For this one, we even have like
we've probably got about 350 feet of cable going out. This is a huge acreage, it's about 7 acres. I'll give you guys a idea of that later. But even with that and the amount of lights and everything, voltage drop is just not something I'm really concerned about with this one, again, because we're using a good quality light. We're using large enough wire. We're not trying to save dollars using a smaller wire, which I'd always recommend go with at least 12 to low voltage direct burial wire, or it's the easiest to work with. And you go with something smaller, you might save a couple bucks, but then you're really limiting the capacity of what you can add on. So that's pretty much it. And then we're doing a lot of uplighting and downlighting on this project, and this is kind of like our staple fixture that we use for a lot of our jobs, the RS uplight. The reason I like it for so many reasons, and why it works good for this is it comes with a really durable ground stake, which you don't always find with a lot of the lights and stuff you find on Amazon and Home Depot. It's a pretty cheap one and it breaks real easy. These stakes won't break. The light is going to get hit by a tractor, might get knocked out of the threads, but these will not break, and you can usually just screw them back in. So I like that. I like to have a 10-foot lead wire, so this is great when we're mounting them in trees and stuff, because it gives me a lot of room to play around. If I come back at night and I want to move it, I can move it, within 10 feet either way, and I don't have to remake connections. So I love that. The wire is really easy to work with. Cheaper models, I know, because sometimes we use different lights for different things. It's not as easy to work with. All this stuff adds up, which makes a quality light. If something's really cheap, there's generally a reason for that. So the other reason I like it is if you've had a chance to work with it, or have tried our try it before you buy it light, you'll know this is an aluminum fixture, but this does not feel like most aluminum fixtures that you find on Amazon and Home Depot. Get our try it before you buy it light. You can see how durable this thing is. It's literally bulletproof. I've been installing these in trees before, and I've dropped these from 25 feet and this thing does not break. A really good light. And then the other reason I like it, especially for a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and I get flack from professional lighting designers all the time saying, oh, integrated is the way to go. Personally, I still like this. I like getting a good quality fixture, and I like getting a good quality bulb. Again, you get some of the cheaper stuff you find online, and you're going to have problems with the bulb. They just don't last as long. They draw more power than they say, so that's where people run into voltage drops. And I get that email I don't know how many times a week, hey, I bought this system, I won't say the name, from a big box store, and I hooked up all my lights. I've got 20 lights, and they won't come on. And it's because the lights are drawing a lot more power than the box actually says, and that's just based on efficiency and quality and all that kind of stuff, and they can't get their system to go. So I mean, if you're doing a very small system, that's fine, but if you're getting upwards of 15, 20 lights plus, and you're still going with some of those cheaper models, there's a good chance you're going to have some problems. Not so much with this. The other reason I like it is the components are really easy. I'll talk about some troubleshooting stuff later that really allows you to play around and troubleshoot with this. And the other thing I like too is on this property, so we've got some trees that are, I don't know, I'm looking at them here, I say they're 80 to 100 feet high. So I want to be able to put something in that's bright enough. And I like the ability that if I put something in and it's either too bright or not bright enough, I can just go and I can switch out a bulb. I don't have to change the fixture. I don't have to mess around with trying to change an LED board. I can just basically pop in a new bulb, try something a little bit brighter, and see how that looks. So that's one of the reasons I really like these ones. It just gives you a whole bunch of flexibility. I know a lot of people ask about beam spreads and intensities and all that kind of stuff. Well, this really allows you to play around with that, because even as your landscape grows, as trees get bigger and stuff, you might want to upgrade how bright some of your bulbs are. Really good option. Again, nice waterproof seal. That's another thing that just makes fixtures last. I mean, there's so many reasons, and you know, we're on an island here that gets a lot of rain in the winter time, so I want to make sure we got something that's super waterproof. That's why we're using our waterproof connections and everything. But really wanted to give you a feel for why we're using these lights on this project, and with so many, they're by far our most popular one. So yeah, we'll kind of keep going with the install here. We're just going to get our stakes in the ground. That is the one thing. I did another video, whether it's going to be part of this one or not, where we did some deck lighting, where your rubber mallet, it really is your best friend. It comes in all our kits for a reason, because we use it a ton, and that's usually what I use when I'm securing, especially here, because we're on an island. This is rock, so I need to really be able I need to really be able to get that into the ground. There's no way I'm doing that if I just got to step on it. So you'll use this for so many different reasons. When we're mounting some tree lights too, I'll show you some ways that we do that. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on with it. We'll screw our light in. We'll make our wiring connections. The nice thing too, or little trick is always try and keep the adjustment screw. Another reason I like this light, there's a little adjustment screw at the base, so you can come and you can just kind of adjust it to go more upright or down if you want to. And it's a really durable one. It's not some cheap little screw thing that some of the lights again have online. And then the last thing I was going to mention, I totally forgot my train of thought, but the adjustment, oh yeah, and that's what it was, is a general rule of thumb. Whenever you're installing up lights, you almost always want to have them more upright than you actually think. I see so many people angle them at the objects, and you typically get a lot better effect if you're angling it more upright than you think. So that's just a good general rule of thumb. But regardless, come back at night, make any adjustments, make sure you're getting the right effect. Even on a property this side, even with how many lights like these we've installed, I'm still coming back at night and I want to make sure that I'm getting the effect that I look for with the design and everything that we've come up with.
Hey guys, so I just want to show you, we're going to use our accent light a whole bunch in this property. And a lot of common areas we're going to use that is on some nice trees. We got a really nice tree here that we're going to try and focus on. But one thing I see people do too often, or more times than not, is instead of trying to get that light nice and close to the tree and having it shine up, so you're taking advantage of all the barking structure and then all the branching up top, is they'll bring it far back and try and aim it at the tree. And what happens there is they tend to miss a lot of the lower portions of the trees. And then also when it, you know, depending on the area you live in, if you start losing a lot of foliage in the wintertime, then having that light shine at all the foliage is kind of a waste of time, and you lose a lot of the effect of that light. That's why I like having it closer to the tree. You know, here we're maybe 12, 14, 18 inches away from the base. We're going to have it shooting almost straight up because I want to highlight all this trunking and branching structure as possible, as well as now we're getting that light up into the foliage and into the canopy. So again, with our standard RS uplight from FX Luminaire, there's lots of other good ones out there. I like this guy because it's a real workhorse, and that's what we're going to use on this project. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys got some great do-it-yourself landscape lighting tips. Now, please be sure to go to our website at lightingdoctor.ca and check out our how-to page. It's full of great resources, from our podcast to our video to our most frequently asked questions. And also check out our Try It Before You Buy It light, where you can actually go now and get one of our premium quality uplights and a King Innovation Insta-Light, which is basically a battery pack now that allows you to go and run those lights and test them out on your property. Try it for 14 days. If you don't love it, send it back to us and we'll give you a full refund. And if not, you keep the light at a discounted rate and go and buy what you need for your project. So thanks again for watching. Please be sure to leave us a comment. We love your feedback. Have a great day.